And with times like this, be graceful. So I'm gonna just go home, spend some time with my family. It's been a long road. I'm proud of everything I've accomplished in this sport. I have a lot of tread left on the tires. But right now, I just need some time to think, man.
Everyone talks about Dustin Poirier now. The knockouts, the wars, the championships, the millions. But almost nobody talks about the version of Dustin Poirier that existed before all of that. The version that was broke, unknown, bleeding in small gyms while nobody outside Louisiana cared who he was. Because the truth is, Dustin Poirier wasn't supposed to become one of the most respected fighters in MMA. He wasn't the biggest prospect. He wasn't the most hyped athlete. He wasn't the chosen superstar. And that's exactly why his story is so dangerous. Because every single thing he built came from work, relentless work. According to interviews and reports surrounding his career, Dustin's entire approach revolves around consistency. While many fighters dramatically change their habits between fights, Poirier stays relatively close to fight shape year-round and rarely allows himself to drift far away from competition condition. That's a huge advantage, because most fighters spend half their camps trying to undo months of bad decisions. Dustin spends camp sharpening weapons, not fixing mistakes. And maybe that's why his rise feels different from so many others. Because nothing about it was overnight. Every improvement was earned, every skill was developed, every level was climbed one painful step at a time. And eventually, all of that work led to one of the biggest moments of his career. UFC 257, Conor McGregor, Abu Dhabi. One of the biggest stars combat sports had ever seen standing across from him. Most people expected Dustin to lose. Many expected him to get stopped. Instead, he shocked the world. A second-round knockout, a career-defining victory, and proof that years of discipline eventually beat hype. But what most people never saw was the system operating behind the scenes. The food, the recovery, the conditioning. The routines repeated thousands of times before that fight ever happened. Because elite fighters aren't built on fight night. They're built on ordinary days nobody remembers.
Chase your dreams, whatever's in your heart. Don't listen to the critics. Don't listen to the outside noise. Really, if you have a goal, if you have a dream, you can make it happen. You really can. If you have the hard work, dedication, you can, like I said in the press conference, you can move mountains. Things that seem impossible are possible if you really believe and work for it. You know, anything, no dreams too crazy.
Meal overview. Full day. Approximately 1,800 to 2,500 calories during stricter fight camp phases depending on weight cut demands and training intensity. High protein structure, supporting muscular recovery, grappling endurance, striking performance, weight management, controlled carbohydrates supporting, running boxing sessions, wrestling strength training, recovery between workouts. Main foods throughout camp include oatmeal, bananas, kefir, Greek yogurt, chicken eggs, fish, vegetables, berries, fruit, hydration-focused fluids. The structure focuses heavily on staying lean year-round while maintaining enough fuel for multiple training disciplines. And honestly, the first meal of the day perfectly reflects Dustin's personality. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy. Just fuel. Meal 1, breakfast. Oatmeal. Medium banana. Low-fat kefir. Coffee. Approximately 450 to 600 calories total. 20 to 30 grams of protein supporting recovery and muscular maintenance. 60 to 80 grams of carbohydrates supporting morning conditioning and energy output. Low fat supporting faster digestion and stable energy. Purpose: fueling morning cardio while maintaining a lean body composition during camp. And before that breakfast even happens, Dustin often starts the day with cardio. Running. Simple, old school, no complicated equipment, no shortcuts. According to interviews, Poirier enjoys running several miles at an easy pace and frequently uses it as part of his conditioning base. That matters, because the foundation of Dustin Poirier's entire style is built on endurance, pressure, pace, the ability to keep moving forward while other fighters slowly begin fading. And maybe that's the biggest lesson from Dustin's rise. He never tried to become a superstar. He focused on becoming undeniable. And eventually the world had no choice but to notice. What makes Dustin Poirier so dangerous isn't the power. It isn't the boxing. It isn't even the toughness. It's the fact that he can do everything. Boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, conditioning, strength work, and somehow maintain an elite level across all of them. Because according to reports surrounding his camps, Poirier rarely trains the same thing every day. One day might be boxing, another might be wrestling, another might be strength training, another might focus heavily on jiu-jitsu. That variety matters, because MMA doesn't reward specialists anymore. At the highest level, every weakness eventually gets exposed. And Dustin spent years eliminating weaknesses, piece by piece, skill by skill, camp by camp. That's why when people talk about Poirier, they often focus on his heart, the wars, the blood, the violence. But underneath all of that is actually a very intelligent athlete. A fighter who understands that every discipline matters, every detail matters, every improvement matters. And once the morning conditioning finishes, recovery immediately becomes the next priority.
Times in there, I could have did more. I was just so prepared. And now I gotta wake up and look myself in the mirror every morning, get this result. And if anything adversity's taught me in the past, is when times are good, be grateful. And when times like this, be graceful. So I'm gonna just go home, spend some time with my family. It's been a long road. I'm proud of everything I've accomplished in this sport. I have a lot of tread left on the tires. But right now I just need some time to think, man.
Meal 2, morning recovery. Snack low-fat Greek yogurt, grapes, water, approximately 250 to 350 calories total, 20 to 25 grams of protein supporting muscular repair, 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrates supporting recovery and energy restoration, minimal fat supporting faster digestion. Purpose: maintaining recovery between training sessions while keeping body weight under control. And one thing that stands out immediately about Dustin's nutrition is how clean everything stays. No junk food, no constant cheat meals, no extreme bulking phases. Instead, the system stays relatively simple. Lean proteins, fruit, vegetables, hydration, consistency. Because Poirier understands something many fighters never learn. The easier the system becomes, the easier it is to follow for years. And years are what create champions. Not weeks, not months, years. That mindset becomes even more obvious when lunch arrives.
Content, I'm happy. I was a kid chasing a dream and turned this into a life for my family. I've had some ups and downs in my career. I've had a lot of high moments, and I'm really thankful for the journey. It's given me everything I have. It's taught me so much about myself. But the question you have to ask is, when I look in the mirror, it's like, what's more important? What I attain on the journey or the person I become on the journey? And I'm content with the person I see in the mirror, man. I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I'm in a good spot. So all of this built me into that. Titles are great. Titles are great. But this experience is...
Meal 3, midday performance. Meal: chicken breast, eggs, egg whites, spinach, fruit, water. Approximately 600 to 800 calories total. 50 to 65 grams of protein supporting muscular recovery and performance. 30 to 50 grams of carbohydrates supporting training output. Moderate healthy fat supporting hormonal balance and recovery. Purpose: providing stable energy and recovery before the next major training block of the day. And maybe the most impressive thing about Dustin's career is how long he's been able to maintain elite-level conditioning. Because conditioning isn't built through motivation, it's built through repetition. Running when you don't feel like running, training when nobody is watching, recovering properly when everybody else is cutting corners. According to interviews and reports surrounding his camps, Poirier frequently uses road work as part of his conditioning foundation. Easy runs help build the aerobic engine that supports everything else inside the cage. That engine becomes critical during fights, because Dustin's style isn't built around quick finishes. It's built around pressure, volume, pace, the ability to stay dangerous long after other fighters begin slowing down. And before the hardest training session of the day begins, the body gets one final fuel source. Meal 4, pre-workout snack: low-fat Greek yogurt, raspberries or blueberries, water, approximately 250 to 350 calories total, 20 to 25 grams of protein supporting muscular preservation, 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrates supporting training energy, minimal fats supporting fast digestion. Purpose: light fuel before boxing, wrestling, strength training, or MMA practice. Because once training starts, everything changes. The intensity increases, the pace increases, and the work that built Dustin Poirier begins all over again. By the time most fighters reach the top of the sport, they usually become specialists. Elite strikers, elite wrestlers, elite grapplers, elite kickboxers. Dustin Poirier became something much more dangerous, complete. Because after years of fighting the best athletes in the world, Poirier learned that every weakness eventually gets exposed. And that's why his camps evolved into a system built around versatility: boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, strength training, conditioning, everything connected together into one complete machine. And honestly, that's what makes Dustin so difficult to prepare for. Because no matter where the fight goes, he's comfortable. Standing, clinching, scrambling, countering, pressuring, he can adapt. And adaptation wins championships. That mindset becomes obvious once training starts. According to reports surrounding his camps, Dustin regularly combines boxing sessions with strength work, grappling development, and conditioning training throughout the week. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything serves the fight. Jump rope develops rhythm and conditioning. Heavy bag work sharpens combinations. Strength work develops explosive power. Wrestling improves control. Jiu-jitsu sharpens finishing ability. Every session adds another weapon. And maybe the most underrated part of Dustin's entire game is his durability. Not durability because he gets hit. Durability because he can keep performing after getting hit. That's a completely different skill. Because when fatigue arrives, technique starts disappearing. Decision-making starts slowing down. Openings begin appearing. But Dustin built his career on surviving those moments. The ugly moments. The difficult moments. The moments where champions are created. And once the hardest training block finishes, recovery becomes the next priority. Meal 5, dinner, tilapia, or lean fish, cabbage salad, tomatoes, olive oil, water. Approximately 400 to 600 calories total. 40 to 50 grams of protein supporting muscular recovery after training. 15 to 25 grams of carbohydrates supporting recovery while maintaining weight control goals. Healthy fats supporting hormonal balance and inflammation management. Purpose: post-training recovery while staying lean during fight camp. And looking at Dustin's nutrition, one thing becomes obvious immediately: discipline. Because this isn't a bodybuilder diet. It's not designed for aesthetics. It's designed for performance. Lean protein, hydration, recovery, weight management. Everything serves the next training session. Everything serves the next fight. And that's why Poirier rarely finds himself needing massive weight cuts compared to many fighters. He stays relatively close to competition shape year-round. That consistency removes stress, removes panic, removes rushed preparation, and allows more time to focus on what actually matters: improving. Then, before bed, the final recovery phase begins. Meal 6, night recovery, kefir, mixed berries, water. Approximately 250 to 400 calories total, 15 to 25 grams of protein supporting overnight recovery, 20 to 40 grams of carbohydrates supporting glycogen restoration and recovery, minimal fats supporting easy digestion before sleep. Purpose: overnight recovery supporting another day of high-volume training. Because Dustin Poirier's system isn't built around shortcuts. It's built around consistency. Day after day, week after week, year after year, until eventually the results become impossible to ignore. And that's exactly how a kid from Louisiana became one of the most respected fighters on the planet. At the highest level of MMA, talent alone eventually stops being enough. Everybody can punch, everybody can grapple, everybody can train hard. So the real difference appears somewhere deeper. Inside the preparation, inside the conditioning, inside the ability to perform when the body is exhausted and the mind wants to quit. And honestly, that's exactly where Dustin Poirier separates himself from most fighters. Because Dustin's system isn't built around one weapon. It's built around having no weaknesses. According to interviews and reports surrounding his camps, Poirier constantly rotates between boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, strength work, and conditioning throughout the week. That's why his game feels so complete. There's always another answer, another adjustment, another layer. And when you break down the structure behind his camps, the system starts making sense. Workout overview, full week Monday, boxing development, technical boxing sessions, footwork, combination work, defensive movement, heavy bag rounds, pad work, counter-punching, everything designed to sharpen striking efficiency and maintain high-volume output. Tuesday, wrestling emphasis, takedown entries, chain wrestling, clinch control, cage work, scrambles, positional dominance. Because in modern MMA, wrestling often decides who controls the fight. Wednesday, jiu-jitsu and grappling submission chains, guard passing, positional transitions, back control, escapes, ground control systems. Everything focused on maintaining dangerous options once the fight hits the mat. Thursday, conditioning and roadwork distance running, aerobic conditioning, recovery pace cardio, mental toughness development. According to reports, Poirier regularly uses running as part of his conditioning foundation and enjoys maintaining a strong endurance base year-round, because cardio remains one of the most important weapons in his style. Friday, strength and explosive power trap bar deadlifts, resistance band work, box jumps, landmine chest press, bench press variations, bent over rows, TRX work, weighted sled pushes, tire flips, everything focused on explosive force production rather than bodybuilding size. Saturday, MMA integration, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, transitions between all disciplines, fight simulations, scenario drilling, everything connected together exactly the way it appears during real competition. Because isolated skills don't win MMA fights, integrated skills do. Sunday, recovery and reset mobility work, hydration, recovery sessions, family time, mental recovery, preparation for another week of work. Because recovery is part of performance, not separate from it. And maybe that's the biggest lesson from Dustin Poirier's entire system. Nothing flashy, nothing magical, no secret formula, just relentless consistency, clean nutrition, smart recovery, elite conditioning, and thousands of hours spent sharpening every area of MMA until weaknesses slowly disappeared. That's why Dustin Poirier became one of the most respected fighters in the sport. Not because he was gifted more talent than everyone else, because he kept showing up long after others stopped. If you made it this far, you understand what separates average fighters from elite systems. Comment which athlete you want next, and stay locked in. This is Iron Protocol.